Alright, D2 fans and affixes, special treat for you today. As promised many times on the podcast, I'm going to be casting the world record speedrun for the normal Paladin run that Bender Meets Fry did a few weeks ago. Talking through the different strategies in how that all works and giving you a complete rundown on what I look for as a big fan of Diablo 2 speedruns, talking about the different strategies that I've picked up that runners use over the years, and going into, why this was such an entertaining one for me personally to watch, and hopefully you can get excited by that too. For anyone who's not coming from the podcast, definitely check us out over at affix.live. We talk about economics and philosophy, and I also have a weekly section on what's going on in Diablo 2 news. So this is me, Brian, and this is Bender Meets Fry speedrunning Diablo 2. Let's start it off. So it's going hardcore, big call, and the first thing you'll notice here is he drops his shield, which seems a bit counterintuitive to people.
Hello guys.
There we go. So he drops his shield so he doesn't get caught in a blocking animation. So if enemies hit him and he blocks, that essentially freezes his character for a few frames there and can end up getting him trapped in a loop where he's blocking and other enemies come to hit him and he gets stuck in this blocking animation again and again and eventually just gets hit more and more. One, it slows down his time in speedrunning the game, but two, it also actually makes it more dangerous for him as well because he can get stuck in a loop getting hit over and over again and trying to block things without being able to attack back or run away. So you can see here, Act 1, he's just running out to the Bloodmoor. He'll be trying to find the Den of Evil. Here it is. Drops a scroll of town portal right in front of it. Very lucky to find a stamina shrine because that means he can just keep running all the way through to the next area. So he can get his waypoint and come back and complete the Den of Evil. Because this is one of the interesting things about the Paladin run. You do use a respec strategy that has come out since version 1.10. Many people who used to play Diablo 2 will not be aware that you can actually respec your characters now by completing the Den of Evil quest. He'll be changing from a Holy Fire melee build to a Blessed Hammerden build later on in the run. So he comes through here, he picks up some javelins. Javelins is a really interesting point because one, it gives him a ranged attack so he doesn't have to run around and to hit the individual enemies and go out of his way to do that. And javelins are also quite strong. He's actually doing really well here because personally when I've run the Paladin and I use the javelin strat, I just miss all the time. So it does have a bit of a dexterity requirement to increase your chance of hitting the enemy. And he's pumped more into dex there to help himself out, obviously. Obviously pretty skilled here, so he doesn't have to worry as much about vitality. He knows how to manage the enemies. Quickly heals from that. Really using those javelins well. I can't believe how often he's hitting. It is phenomenal here. But really running through it, making the most of that stamina shrine. It's not obvious to anyone, but in a speedrun, especially in these early levels, having that stamina shrine saves you a lot of hassle because you can often run out of stamina early in the game and you have to stop and walk, and clearly being able to continue to run around is much better. Nice little bonus on those superior javelins he picked up there. Had bonus attack rating, which increases his chance to hit the enemies, which is what I've been talking about so far. So continuing to work his way through the den, he's going to go straight into having might on his character there. You may have noticed earlier he set up his menuing while he was running through the Bloodmoor to be able to quickly put points into that skill. So might gives him a bonus to being able to hit people. And he's gone straight into smite rather than resist fire, which is interesting. Short staff will be really important to get some money, as will that small charm. So money, you're going to be buying a lot of mana potions and stamina potions and scrolls of town portal, etc. So it actually is quite important here. It's not worth your time picking up the gold off the ground because they're just pitiful amounts compared to what you can get for selling the items at the store. So there you go. 3 minutes 45 seconds to complete the Den of Evil. That is astonishingly fast. I genuinely struggle to get it under 4.5 minutes as a kind of amateur. and that's me doing my best. I think most good runners struggle to get under 4. Sometimes you can get, around that mark, so that's really good. Him saying not bad, quite an understatement. So as you can see there, he went and sold the items that he picked up off the ground. There's a few little bits to that as well. He pumps dex even more, so he's more likely to hit enemies. Sold and rebought his javelins, or repaired the javelins, sorry, so they had quantity, so he wasn't going to run out of them in the middle of nowhere. And he finds a boss pack here. So the important thing about boss packs, so it had a special name for that particular enemy, and underneath the similar enemy types around it had the word minion. They actually give 500% XP, so killing one of them takes about as long as killing any other monster, but it actually gives you as much experience as killing 5 of them. So it's really important to target that. Interesting that he's gone and reset the game entirely to go and kill Bishibosh a couple of times. Bishibosh is a super unique monster, so he'll always appear there. I guess he's just trying to get some more items, or maybe pump up his experience a little bit. It's a strange strategy, but there you go. It'll work for him, I'm sure, because this is the world record. Yep. Got some even better javelins. That's pretty good. Picked up another staff and sold that for a lot of money, which is excellent. You'll also notice he picked up some strangling gash potions earlier, which is really helpful because that gives you area of effect attacks. So what you want there is, as a melee character, you can only target one enemy at a time, which is quite slow. By throwing a strangling gash potion, it actually has an area of effect attack and can hurt a lot of enemies. Wow, those were pretty nice gloves. So it had 5 fire res on them, which is quite helpful. A little bit of dexterity, I think, as well I saw on there. So that was, fantastic. So I was running through the cold plains here, trying to find his way to the right exit to get to the stony field. You can tell it's the stony field exit because it is kind of in the middle-ish of that tile of the overall area of the cold plains. Once again, killing a boss monster. He ran away from that one because it was cold enchanted, so that way he didn't get hit by that big aura attack when the enemy died, so he wasn't slowed down. If you get hit by a cold attack, your character slows down. Speedrun, you don't want to do that. So he continues doing that. Running through, I really like those gloves. He'll be trying to find Rakinishu here to get some more bonus experience. So Rakinishu is another super unique monster, so guaranteed to appear. Has a lot of minions as well, so that's even more 5 times XP enemies he can kill. And he's found an experience shrine, which gives him 150% experience as well. He quickly picked up that quilted armor because it was grey. He was hoping to get a 2 socket so he could put the runes Stealth, Tal, and Eth, which you can see right here. Those 2 runes he wants to get so he can get faster run walk and faster cast rate later on in the game. So he found Rakinishu, killed him, or killed his minions at the very least. Rakinishu, as everyone who has played Diablo 2 will know, is very dangerous because he's lightning enchanted, and those lightning bolts that are hitting Bender right now are doing a lot of damage, and in hardcore you can't die, so there you go. Picks up a scimitar, which is going to be really helpful. Oh, and it's got
interesting weapon there.
Increased attack speed as well. So scimitars are really great for the paladin, for a melee paladin especially, that is using Holy Fire, because it attacks really fast. It uses a bit of dexterity, so you're likely to hit more often if you're going into that, but mostly it just attacks really fast. And it doesn't matter what damage the base is doing, because most of your damage when you're going into a Holy Fire build actually comes from the skill Holy Fire itself. So switches back across to those javelins. Very nice use of it as well, because when you've got a dense pack like this, they can walk around, and the ones that are walking around can get in the way of the javelin and get hit as well without having to individually target them, so that was really good use of that. Trying to pick up more gas pots. to bulk out his inventory there so he doesn't have to sell them as often. So yeah, that scimitar is really nice, and with increased attack speed, obviously that's going to make him hit more and do that holy fire damage even more often, so really good. And I think it might have even had a bit of cold damage on there too, which will slow your enemies down as you hit them. Oh no, it's fire and lightning, but lightning's really good as well because it, especially at low levels, because it's such a high variance item, damage type, it is... Holy cow, and he's got Biggott's bonnet too. So that's a unique item. So I'll go into Biggott's bonnet in a minute, but that extra damage from fire damage and lightning damage is going to be really helpful from that scimitar when he gets into... Well, he's got holy fire now because he's hit level 6 before he gets to the Dark Wood, which is great. So he'll be going from here out to the Black Marsh to try and get...
Right now everything has a red background. It means I haven't found any of the runes yet. If it's... if they turned white like they look in the game, I have them.
So yeah, that explains the rune bit that I was just circling a little bit earlier, why they're red right now. So yeah, he'll be going to the Black Marsh, trying to find the waypoint and the tower so he can do the runs to get those runes. So yeah, that sword is really good. The Countess who drops all the runes is fire enchanted, so getting some damage types other than fire is really helpful too, so that's what that lightning's great for. And yeah, so Biggott's bonnet. Let me just quickly bring something up over here to talk about Biggott's bonnet. So Biggott's bonnet is a unique item, which means that, here we go, it will always have the same properties, and what it gives is 30 enhanced damage, which is okay. As I mentioned before, that only applies to the base damage of the weapon, and scimitars don't have that great of base physical damage. So, that's okay. 30 attack rating is very helpful because it'll mean that he's more likely to actually hit the enemies. The best thing about it is 15 to mana, 15 to life. So that'll mean that he can run around more often without having to use mana potions, and when he uses mana potions, they'll fill up his mana meter quicker. And 15 to life is just 15 to life, so he doesn't have to invest as much, or he's less likely to die, which is great.
In the armor gives me stealth, which is run speed, cast speed, and hit recovery.
Yep, so that's him just giving the rundown of why he wants to get Tal and
That's
Eth.
the main one I need here.
He's got a couple of runes on that side that he doesn't actually need, so he's got Tyrell,
Shrine around the tower,
which is... Tyrell is for a different character, for the assassin or for the druid, so he's just kept that standard layout. Wow, that's really helpful too. Look at those 4 shrines around the tower. There's going to be like almost guaranteed 5 boss packs in each by the bottom of the tower.
Really
and this is 4 chances to get...
That gives +3 to fire skills.
4 chances to get a experience shrine, which means he'll get 150% times that 500%. Skill shrine's also helpful, means his damage from Holy Fire will do more.
Which gives you Cloak of Shadows.
Yep. So that's him just talking through why he has those runes. So Tyrell is Leaf for a different character because it does really plus fire skills. Here. And he's not really going to be using those later on in the game by the time he is able to use a Ral rune, because that's level limited. And Neftir
level 1
gives you a assassin skill which lets you effectively hide from enemies, which isn't that necessary either because the Paladin just does a lot of damage late game. So here you go, here's another boss pack. He's throwing out the Strangling Gas Potions to do that area of effect damage, and taking a lot of damage himself from those lightning bolts. Archers are really tough because they just do a lot of damage themselves, so you want to be careful, and having those Strangling Gash Potions was really helpful there. So, just really smacking those wraiths or ghosts, and getting a lot of bonus XP from them. And you'll notice before he picked up a sash, like a cracked sash, and you might wonder why he'd get like a bad item and put it on. One, because it doesn't really matter if the item breaks, and cracked will likely break very fast, he can still use the belt slots from it, so he gets an extra row of, where is my little highlighter down here? Down here. You will get an extra hidden row of potions there by putting on any sash, even if it's broken, it'll still work for that. Yep, uses those gas pots again nicely, and you can just see, he's just a master, he's just running through. He knows exactly when not to stop and when not to bother picking stuff up. Like one thing you'd notice earlier, way back when we were in the Dark Wood, a green buckler dropped. Oh, Rail and Ith, so he didn't really need that, but the Rail will give him some nice fire resist, so that's pretty handy. So there was a green buckler that dropped, and it really stands out because it's not a magic item, it's a set item, and you might think, gee, why didn't he pick up that green buckler? Well, exactly as I talked to at the start, he doesn't really want a shield because he can get stuck in block animations, and the benefits from that are just not worth his time.
Strength is level 25, that's not useful in normal.
So an amateur like me, I would always be enticed.
I would take that, yeah.
I'd always be enticed to...
Already got the weapon with attack speed, so it's not that necessary.
So his chat then has just asked him whether it would be worth his time to be chasing Tier L, which is another commonly used rune word in the Paladin run, which gives bonus attack speed and... what is it? It's bleed chance or something like that to the enemies, which means that they can't heal from it because it's like a hidden poison. But the main reason you want Steel, Tier L, is to get the attack speed, and he's already got that on that awesome scimitar I talked to earlier. What was I talking about? Yeah, his ability to just filter out and not bother picking up items like amateurs like me would always stop and pick up the green thing just to check, just in case. You know, it looks shiny, it looks cool, I might want to put it on. So really just flying through. This is the challenging part for a lot of speedrunners, or speedrunning watchers, is the repetitiveness of doing the tower over and over again. So the reason you do the tower
for the title, then,
is that chance to drop a rune is almost 100% from the countess. It's a part of the special attributes of that monster. So to get all the runes to have for the rune words that you want to use later in the game, particularly stealth, which has awesome bonuses.
Light mana potions.
You want to be doing the tower and over and over again. One, to get those runes, and two, because you generally have a good amount of boss packs here, it does help you level a little bit. It's not optimal, but it helps, so it's very helpful to do. Unfortunately, it does get a bit tedious for people who like to watch the speedruns because, you know, you're just doing the same area over and over again. So champions are a little bit different from the boss packs I was talking to earlier. So they are stronger monsters like the bosses, but they only give 300% XP bonus. So they're not as good, not really as worth your time investing, because generally there can be types that have a lot of life or a lot of defense and they're really hard to hurt. So like those champion archers that he just saw hidden in the corner down there, not worth his time. He's much better off coming straight here to the countess, just beating her, trying to get his runes. There you go, he's got a towel, he's got a realm. Will he pick up that sacred globe, because that could be worth a good amount of money too? No. There you go, he will.
That's gold.
So there you go. He's going to sell his ID, his book of ID, and buy it back from Chelsea because it had no ID scrolls left in it, but by selling it and buying it back, it automatically fills it up, so it's a really nice, fast way of doing that at any vendor. Yep, same thing applies for those Strangling Gash potions, so by selling them and buying them back, the quantity refreshes. Not going to bother with the champion archers because they're just painful. Probably pick up the stamina shrine so he doesn't have to worry about stamina potions. And you can see he's hovering his mouse over a lot of those enemies just to check whether the word minion appears. Oh, nice. He's got a experience shrine there. So just to check whether the word minion appears, because if the word minion appears instead of demon underneath their health bar, that means that they're worth 500 XP.
Pretty late for that.
So he's on his third run here. He's got one of the runes that he actually wants. And he's just a master of managing his health. Like, I would be freaking out if my health was below 50, like,
Yes, it is.
at that low in here.
It's not that big of a deal in a Paladin run, since my damage is fire and not physical. Doesn't do much for my damage, it's mainly life and mana.
Exactly as I was talking about earlier with the beacon spawner. So once again, you can just see how much damage those archers do. Best thing to do is constantly be moving and trying to dodge the arrows that they're shooting at you. He navigates that perfectly well. You can see he's always preemptively triggering a potion and be healing while he's running on the fly, which is great. More archers, which is just painful for him. And those are spectral hits, so they've done cold damage to him, which is slowing him down. Just picking up the potions on the fly, and that's another important thing, is by killing a boss, they drop potions. They are guaranteed to drop 4 potions, which means you don't have to waste your time.
Cap with a ruby and a sapphire in it for me.
So basically his chat is continuing to ask him about the drops that he's had so far. But yeah, the important thing, by killing bosses, yeah, they drop those 4 potions at a time, down to 5 life, oh my gosh. Drop those 4 potions, which means you're not wasting time going back to town to the vendors to buy more potions every time. You can just be out in the field, kind of Iron Man running, doing it all the way to the end.
I guess it has attack rating as well, huh? So it is actually useful. A tiny bit.
There you go. Definitely useful. One thing I didn't talk to in the tower here, and we'll see. I'll let it be, and we'll see how he goes. Killing the Countess this time. Once again, pretty easy. Always dropping those Strangling Gash potions to get that area of effect attack on all the minions. And whacking her. Oh, he's got the Eth rune, so there you go. He's got Taleth, he can move on now.
Okay, we got
Did he have 2-socket armor?
Tal and double Ral, even nice.
So double Ral's
Stuff
nice
can
because
get
it gives
sold.
a lot of fire resistance, which is really helpful when you get to the Chaos Sanctuary later on, because enemies do Inferno attacks, which do a lot of fire damage. Same applies in Act 3 too, actually. So there you go, he's buying more potions right now, so he doesn't have to come back and do it later. Saving his chip gems because he's going to use those later to do a Herodric Cube trick to try and get... Oh, nice, another experience shrine.
That in the barracks, I guess.
He's going to use those chip gems later on to use a Herodric Cube recipe to try and roll a scepter that gives him +2 Blessed Hammer or +2 concentration. So late game, he can do a lot of damage. Classic Fire Shrine, so Fire Shrine takes away half of the health, including your own health, but... He's got faith in his own abilities. I would be worried about doing that in a hardcore run, but you know, that's how it goes. So he's saving that experience shrine for later because when he gets up ahead, he'll get to the next waypoint.
Leave my typing alone.
He'll get to the next waypoint, go back and get that experience shrine, and then come through. I'm surprised you didn't save it for these guys. Come through the barracks, which is often has 3 to 4 boss groups in it, and use the experience shrine in there where it's quite dense with boss groups. So very smart move there, as you'd expect from the world record holder, and very convenient shrine. Always satisfying seeing that holy fire just area of effect passively kill the enemies around you. So you can guarantee know the way to go out of the outer cloister here based on the tile layout of where your waypoint is there. When it's over on the right hand side there, it's going to be a left turn. There's one that's slightly further up on the right hand side that is a straight through. But yep, I'll get to maps a little bit later on, I think. That's another fire shrine, so it really helps him take the enemy health right down in that whole area while he's got the experience shrine on, so that's a really great fast kill. I'm interested that he's not going Zeal earlier. Oh, because it's level 12. Duh. Never mind. That was silly of me. So continuing to kill those boss packs. Really sticking with that scimitar. An alternate weapon option for the scimitar is to get a
Okay, nice one.
scepter
Almost
that has
ready for charge.
plus to skills. Just because those plus to skills can help you do a lot more damage, but it means you're doing it less slow. Since he picked up the scimitar on the way, really helpful. Here's another couple of boss packs. So what's that? That's 4 so far.
The archers I'm gonna skip.
Yep. Archers are awful, so that's 5, but they're only champions. So we'll kill them, but it's not really that great. Still helpful to have, though. I mean, that's the equivalent of killing 6 enemies in a matter of seconds there. He's dropped a Scroll of Town Portal there, so he can come back later and get the quest item for the Imbue quest, which will make an item rare, so that's his 6th boss group. Wow, the barracks are even better than I remember. So he can get that hammer, take it to Chassis later on, when he comes back here, and imbue an item. So he might imbue something like boots to try and get faster run walk, which makes him get through the game even faster, or might imbue a scepter, because that gives him a good chance of getting plus to skills that'll be really helpful. We'll see how that plays out. So here in the jail, he wants to go, I think it's straight, or is it left? So, let me just quickly look it up. It's been a long time since I speedrun.
Overall, not the bad shrine.
Yeah, so it's straight on jail level 1 and 2, and then on level 3 you want to turn left. So when I talk about straight, you could see the tile when he first came in. Where am I? Sort of made him exit that way, and this one here is making him continue to go on that path to get to the exit point. So similarly here, that's making him exit that way, so we'll want to continue in that direction, because the tile that was there sort of had a blocking endpoint down there, and the tile that is going to exit on with the stairwell out is going to have a blocking endpoint there. So that's why we call it like a straight direction. And there'll be like a stairwell here or something like that. Now, it can be a bit funny how it goes there. It won't necessarily be aligned, but that's about it. Yep, another boss group, Tainted. They can be pretty dangerous because of the lightning damage, and they just have a lot of health, so they're really annoying. So here's doing the smart thing, running away, but leading them on with strangling gas potions. Oh, and this is the tile you actually want in a sorceress run, where you've got a boss pack of a champion pack, sorry, not a boss pack, of those little demon guys. So Devilkin, because one, they have really low health, but all those ones that aren't a special color also still give, they actually give 500% XP, whereas the champions themselves only give 300. So it's an interesting quirk of the game, but if you want to level up fast, killing them over and over again is a great way to do it. So continuing to go through, and here we go, here's the exit tile, exactly as I sort of laid it out. And then on this one here, he's going to be looking for a left turn. So he came in that way, and he's going to be looking for a tile that goes out that way.
Probably behind there.
And you can tell he's played this game a lot because he can read exactly how the tiles go. There you go, there's the left turn for him there. Now he's at the Inner Cloister. He'll go back to town, get that town portal back to get the hammer for Chassis. And then I guess he'll probably save an exit, or will he TP back to town? Who knows? Anyway, there's the Malice. TP back to town. Give that to Chassis. Probably refresh his Strangling Gash potions at the same time, I'd say. Oh, there was a belt there, which is also very nice. He somehow preemptively put in enough strength to wear that, which means he's now got 3 slots. 3 rows of slots for those potions down the bottom, which gives him more space and means he doesn't have to go back to town or restack his belt, which he can just press 1, 2, or 3, 4 to trigger a potion, so that's really helpful. He's got the combat shrine, which means that his attack rating is massively boosted and his chance to hit is good, and is now using stealth. So yeah, first part of the run, you're really investing in Holy Fire because it gives a lot of damage, and then Zeal because that allows you to attack really quickly. And one thing you may not have noticed here, he's only just started doing it, is a trick that Bender loves and is one of the fantastic parts of the Paladin speedrun. It's swap casting. So when he does a sudden dash across the screen while he's swinging his sword, that move there, that's called swap casting. So he's actually doing the skill charge, but that skill charge, if you just use it with the normal animation, is really horrible. It will often end up getting you just stuck, so you'll do like half a charge and then just spend like half a second just sitting there charging in this exact same spot. By doing this swap cast animation, which is done by switching your weapons and the skill that you're doing and a frame perfect trick at the same time as you're doing the skill, it swaps the animation. So he's just doing a regular attack animation over the top of using the charge skill. So that means he can kind of just glide along the ground without getting that really annoying bug that happens with charge, and also move around really, really fast. So great trick. Bender uses it in a lot of different runs. Some speedrunners will ask, where should I use swap casting? Bender will ask, where can't I use swap casting? He's the guy who came up with the trick to actually use the spell of identifying a scroll and swap casting that to help out his Amazon speedruns, swap casting killing Duriel or something.
A weapon just to be safe.
Scimitars, the downside of scimitars is they have quite low durability, so they need repairing pretty often. So, unfortunately, he's had to go back to town a few times without making further progress in the catacombs. But he has been killing a lot of enemy boss packs on the whole way.
Gone.
So, you know, he's continuing to progress at least on that front. You have to get to level 20 at the end of the game to beat the Ancients, to go on and beat Bale, so it's necessary to level up a little bit. He got a bit stuffed on here. He went a long way without getting to the next level of the catacombs. So we'll see how that goes. Got the little rat men in here, which are nice. They have low health. They can be killed really quickly and give you experience that way. And he's got to kind of just run around randomly in the Catacombs Level 1 to try and find the exit. Might Aura is on the enemies there is really bad. One thing I'll call out on these Aura enchanted ones, you can see there that the minions, I suppose, around that tainted boss who had Aura enchanted, they didn't say minion underneath them, but they still give the 500 XP. It's just a weird quirk of where bosses only have Aura enchanted as their like special ability. So once again, he can read the maps really well. He knew to stop really early on that previous one and instead turn back and go up to here. Catacombs Level 2 is an interesting one. So you want to run this in a like clockwise direction. So pick an exit because, and he's found that super fast. So from that waypoint, it will be a right turn guaranteed on this map to get to the exit. Now, a tricky thing can happen, of course, because 3 lefts make a right, so it could be like that, and that's still the right turn down there, so let's hope that he doesn't get stuffed on that. But it's a possibility that that'll happen. So the reason why you want to run clockwise around is because if you're running clockwise around and you find, you know, pointing up, that the waypoint is here, that means that you know it's got to be a right turn from there, so straight up you know it's that way. Or similarly, if, you know, you first run down here, and then you run across here, and you find the waypoint, you know, oh, well I should actually just go backwards and immediately find it, so now I don't have to check, you know, up or that way. You're saving time by finding the waypoint accidentally first. Unfortunately, he's seemingly explored the whole top right section already and he hasn't found it yet. So for a world record speedrun, he's really getting stuffed here, like spending a lot of time in the catacombs. Of course, he's still doing it way faster than I ever could. Poison length reduced, I guess that could be helpful for Andariel. I don't know why he'd bother keeping that, but maybe you might be far enough now.
I've taken the waypoint, I guess.
That the level of the enemies could drop faster run walk, I suppose. So that's why he's picking up boots. Grand Charm could give him good resistances or bonuses to attack, so worth his time picking it up. And also it's just good gold to sell if not. So yeah, he's explored that full right turn section, so it might be one of those tricky extended right, so he has to just go further along out that way and then turn right. Or it might be a triple left and then a right. Well, triple left makes a right. So he's doing a full explore here. We like to call this cartographer percent in the speedrun community. There you go. So it was kind of an extended right turn there. So it wasn't quite the 3 lefts make a right. So unlucky to spend that much time there, but he did make a good amount of experience. And really using that swap casted charge to full effect. So you can see when he's swinging, it does a big chunk out of his mana, which is why having mana potions is pretty important for the Paladin. Fortunately, he doesn't spend too long on level 3, and on level 4, he's going to be smacking Andariel pretty quick, because if you're an old hat at Diablo 2, like many of us are, you will know that Andariel is extra weak against fire-type attacks. So by using Holy Fire, she will just get knocked down super quick. She's guaranteed to drop a bunch of gems, which will be helpful for his re-rolling later on. Didn't bother picking up that saber because he's already got an awesome weapon, and sabers don't sell for that much money. And goes back to Act 1 to go to Act 2, just because it is like maybe 1 second faster to do that than just to run straight across Act 2. Sells his items, gets rid of all the little mana potions because he can get a big one. Oh, faster cast rate is awesome. So that means when he gets to the hammer skill later on, he'll be able to do that really super fast. Because he'll go across the breakpoint with both stealth and that faster cast rate ring. I think it's 37% you have to get to save an extra frame. Immediately gets the experience shrine. Checks if he's got some easy enemies there, but he doesn't. So he's going to run straight out, and the good thing about the first time you enter a map, the chance of rolling enemy pack to be a boss group, whoa, Stony Tomb. This was actually a strategy that Teo thought could be the most efficient way of leveling up for the sorceress, is if you get that Stony Tomb straight out of Act 2 with experience shrines. You can come in here and just get boss packs of beetles, because beetles give a lot of experience. They have low health, so you can kill them really fast, and or champion packs can appear for them as well. So this is an amazing map he rolled. Unfortunately, you got skeletons and they don't give that much of experience. Picks up a rune, because why not? But yeah, that's super interesting. Unfortunately, he's like gone out of the way now. So he did have beetles as well. They could have spawned a boss pack. That's unfortunate. But he'll run around here. He hasn't been finding any more boss packs, unfortunately, so it's just unlucky. But hey, we know he gets the world record, so he'll get there. Oh, and there was a boss pack, of course, of zombies instead, who have quite high life, and that's really annoying. Now this is where having a scepter could have been handy instead, because scepters do 150% damage against undead enemies, which is the skeletons and zombies. But by this stage, he's doing most of his damage through Holy Fire, so, you know. Amulet, if he's lucky, that could give him more faster cast rate. I don't know why he's running back. I guess he's still got a lot of time on the experience shrine, because they give you 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes, I think. So just really making the most of it. But no.
Worth the risk there.
Hello.
He's given up. He was in a tight spot there, so he's probably likely to die, so not worth his time. Goes back to the Black Marsh, because those shrines will always stay in the same place in Act 1, so
this is P1.
Worth checking. Yep, he's just clarifying that this is the player's one. Replenish life is useless, but, you know, good for gold later, I guess. There you go. This is what he should have explored in the first place before going into the Stony Tomb, is whether this kind of boss pack was out here already. So beetles, those lightning bolts do a lot of damage, but it is worth the risk-reward calculation because they give you so much of experience so quickly. So here you go. Now you get to really admire the swap casting of charge. Finds another boss pack. because in these big open plains in Act 2, it really adds up being able to zoom across the maps. Not as good in the Catacombs earlier because there's so many walls in the way, but here's where it really shines. So, as I said earlier, it's a frame perfect trick, but yeah, Diablo 2 runs at 25 frames per second. So we shall... so it's not as hard to do as in like some of the old Nintendo games that you see videos about where it's like a frame perfect trick on 60 frames per second, that kind of thing. So still definitely requires a lot of skill to do. I can't reliably do it, but not impossible. And yeah, Bender's the master of it, does it all the time, so he pretty much gets it first try every time. And once you've done it, until you change the skill that you're using, here's 3-wade, or 4-wade even, that map exit. So the exits to that area are always in the corners of the big block. And he had to check 3 corners effectively before he found the exit, so that's unfortunate. Big time waste in Act 2 there. Running around those big tiles, unfortunately. Picks up some more things. He's cursed, so I would have been freaking out there. Luckily, he's going to go back and check the shrines again. Big light res. I would like those gloves. Worth his time. And now he's... Yep, sacrificing the fire res for lightning res. Just for Act 2, I guess. I probably personally would have saved those, but he's the pro. And he's giving his mercenary a weapon to help kill the enemies faster. Giving him cold damage will mean that they're slowed down whenever his mercenary attacks them. And I think he got offensive there, which the offensive mercenary in Act 2 has an aura which increases your attack rating, so it means you're more likely to hit the bad guys. Incredibly lucky, yet again, to get another experience shrine. Immediately finds a boss group. I don't know why he bothered giving his mercenary armor, but nice thing to do, I guess. Slightly less chance of him being hit. And what he's looking for here is the Stony Tomb. Sorry, the Halls of the Dead. But most likely, there you go, there's Halls of the Dead. He'll drop a TP and continue on looking for the exit. Now you can tell that wasn't the exit area there because the map kind of carved in like that. The exits in Act 2 are big tiles. Where is my thing? So the tiles are kind of like big blocks. If it ever cuts in there, you know that your exit's not there. Nice. Because the exits themselves have to be quite close to the corners. And he's found Beetle Burst straight away. Found the waypoint straight away. That is amazing. So Beetle Burst is another one of those super unique boss monsters. And super easy. So he'll always spawn there in that exact location. Because he's a beetle. Very low life. So very easy to kill and fast to kill. So great experience farming spot there for him. And his waypoint was right next to the Maggot Layer, so that'll save him a lot of exploring time later. Just an awesome setup. So while he wasted a bit of time on those first couple of maps, it's really paying off for him now. Halls of the Dead is another one of those left turn maps, so how do I frame this? So the entranceway is laid out like that, so you got those 3. So you always want to be going to the left, because the exit tile in the Halls of the Dead will always be shaped like that relative to your entrance. So similarly, he could have had one like that, or exactly like this, where it's like that, and he wants to be going down this way to try and find that exit. Now, theoretically, it could actually come out that he has to go like that, but your best first chance is to go that way. As you can see there, yep. Left exit. Interesting. I can't believe he spotted that. So, spotted just out of the corner of his eye from the glow, even amongst the other lighting effects, that there was another boss pack right there that he could go and kill for some extra experience. He's on the 3rd level now. Same thing applies. Turn left in the Halls of the Dead, or to find that relative left-facing tile. I'll put a link in the description to this video to just really explain what I mean by left, because not as intuitive. It's relative to the way you enter.
Better.
Gets a gnarled staff, which will be likely very good gold. Some more chip gems for that cube recipe I referenced earlier, where he's going to roll some scepters, re-roll scepters. So putting in a magic item and 3 chip gems, re-rolls the attributes on that magic item and gives it a socket. By doing that, he's hoping to re-roll a scepter later on, because it'll be level 25 scepter, and at that level it can have plus to Blessed Hammer and plus to concentration on it, as I mentioned earlier. So really farming Beetle Burst here. I guess, what is he, level 15. So by doing this, he can get to using that stealth armor even sooner and have that faster run walk benefit, and get to switching over and using hammers even sooner, which will help him kill Duriel even faster, because Duriel has the Holy Freeze aura, and if you're a melee attacker, that means your melee attacks go slower. So you really want to be switched over to using hammers by the time you get to Duriel, because the freeze effect doesn't actually slow your magic casting animations, it only slows your physical attacking animations. And because Blessed Hammer is a magic attack, you don't get slowed down. So really grinding out Beetle Burst here. Kind of unlucky for him that it's only Beetle Burst, not another boss pack as well, because Beetle Burst only really spawns with like 3 to 4 minions, whereas other bosses can spawn with up to 6. Sacred Global worth some money.
Like that.
He didn't, unfortunately. Yep. So he's not really getting too much value out of the mercenary, because Beetle Burst is just stuck in this little room, and the mercenary's silly AI is just leaving him trapped in the corner there. And the mercenary actually has to strike and try and attack for his aura to trigger, to give Bender the actual benefit from that increased attack rating from the offensive mercenary. So it's kind of, the mercenary is pretty useless at this point, unfortunately for him. Picks up some rejuve pots, that's okay, whatever. Really just, this is just the super repetitive part of the run. I still don't know whether he's got a 2-socket armor, so he might have to go and shop that from Chassis once he's level 17. Extremely repetitive here, extremely repetitive. So there you can see he wasn't swap casting, he's not using the mental effort to trigger swap casting for such quick resets. Oh, there you go, the mercenary's doing a little bit. Killing the itchies, because they're quite low health as well, but their benefit is just so low. But I guess that was a boss pack. So yeah, the vigor animation. Oh, okay, no, he's bothering to swap cast it now. So, I don't know. Just doing it when he remembers, I suppose.
Crush Flange, wow.
Wow, Crush Flange, that's nice. So Crush Flange has an attribute called Crushing Blow, which does 1% of enemy health damage. So it's super helpful against bosses. Because if you have Crush Flange equipped and you use the skill Smite on the Paladin, the skill Smite is 100% chance to hit. So you're never going to miss when you attack an enemy with Smite. And because Crush Flange, the attribute Crushing Blow, does 1% of enemy health damage, I think... What's Crush Flange got? And I think it's got a lot of fire res as well. Let me look this up. Crush Flange. Here we go. So here's Crush Flange, just while the run continues. So it's got 33% chance of Crushing Blow, and Crushing Blow I think does 10% of enemy health. So against a boss like Bale or like Diablo, who have a lot of health, having a 1 in 3 chance, when you're guaranteed to hit every time, of taking away 10% of their health does a lot more damage than the magic hammers will do for the start. And fire resist 50% is also pretty helpful against Diablo's Firestorm attack for sure. He's keeping that chainmail just because it'll be worth a bit of gold later. And plus 15 to strength. I don't know, that might be useful. Oop, language alert.
25 cold res.
25 cold res? What? Wow. So here we go. He's shopping for that armor, because as I mentioned earlier, puts in Tal F, because he's level 17 now, he can actually use it. Skill Shrine, I wonder if he'll save that for later. If he stays in this game, Skill Shrine gives +2 to skills, and that can give you a heck of a lot of damage on your Blessed Hammer at the very early levels. So if he saves that for when he goes to fight Duriel later and goes back and gets that Skill Shrine, it'll save him a lot of time. Just while we're continuing on the map train here, Maggot Layer, while I've been constantly referring to turning left, Maggot Layer is one of those interesting ones where you turn right. So as you can see up there, he was forced to exit the entrance tile that way. So there you go. And he'll be looking for an exit tile that makes him turn right into it. And that applies for both level 1 and level 2 of the Maggot Layer. For level 3, it's always going to be a straight along, which I'll explain when I get there. Maggot Layer, really annoying because it's quite confined spaces. You can't run around enemies, you're just forced to fight through them. So you really want a quick exit in the Maggot Layer. On the plus side, there's beetles here, so sometimes you can get good beetle boss packs. It's okay with the Paladin. It is awful with the sorceress if you don't have teleport yet. It's also awful with the druid and the assassin because your skills are just not that focused. The area of effect skills and area of effect skills aren't that great in super confined spaces, obviously. And you can see every few seconds that holy fire aura is just triggering all the enemies to take damage and just sending wild lightning bolt attacks everywhere. So here you go, it's a drainer in the Maggot Layer. You've got to just work your way through it.
Level 1.
He's explored the first right turn that he could, and it's just forcing him to walk around even more and more. So while he had some good luck on the Beetle Burst map, yeah, his Catacomb maps and Maggot Layer maps aren't treating him too nice so far. And that Stony Tomb map obviously screwed him down a little bit too, without getting the benefit of the beetles. You'll keep picking up rings, hoping to get faster cast rate.
Good in terms of XP.
Pick up that chainmail, looking to get more money because those kind of heavy armors are just worth a lot of money when you sell them to vendors.
Burst for that, so that's not really a concern.
And when you hear that warm sound, that's his mercenaries' aura triggering, proccing to actually turn on, so we'll actually get the benefit of that increased attack rate, increased chance to hit his enemies. Unfortunately for him, his mercenary is currently being a bit dumb AI and getting stuck behind. He's run out of room in his inventory, so that's why he's going back to town. And he's out of TP, so he's got to buy a lot of more town portals again. There you go. Selling those 2 staves, because they've got plus to skills on them. Anything with plus to skills is generally worth a lot of money, so that's why it's good. As you can see here, he's got to do a bit of backtracking to get to that exit, so he's come down this way originally in the map, and then he's looking for a right turn. He hasn't found it, so he's going back this way to hopefully find the right turn down here, I suppose. As mentioned earlier, that hasn't worked out for him, so it could possibly be, you know, 3 lefts make a right to come that way, or it could be that he just has to go out this way and find the right turn. Who knows? And charge is just really annoying in the Maggot Layer again because it's tight spaces, there's a lot of turns, so you don't really get to zoom around as fast. And this is just so enemy dense, so he's really getting hurt by how enemy dense it is, and he has to kill a lot of enemies to get around. And exactly as he said, it's pretty nasty. So there you go, you had to make a right, then a left, then a right. Make a right, 2 lefts, and then a right to get to that right turn exit. So as I mentioned earlier, level 3 is always a straight up, so you will always exit the first tile that way, facing that way, and continue on straight up. And that's where the exit is. He's found that. He won't bother killing Cold Worm because the XP is just not worth it. He's got too much life, and it's a cold enchanted, so for a melee character is pretty slow. Kills Beetle Burst again for just a quick hit of XP. He's not really farming the XP shrines anymore because he doesn't really need it. Might do it when he gets to Act 3 and things are a bit dense and he's got Blessed Hammers. Zooming around, looking for that exit in the corner to get to the Claw Viper Temple. So once again, he's found a little early cut in there, so the tile there has cut in. So he's like, okay, well, the exit would be here theoretically, so it's not going to be in this corner. Instead, I'm going to go down and explore the bottom right and bottom left corners, and he's found it straight up in the bottom right. So
Okay, I got first wave potential.
Into the Lost City, and found the quick exit to the Valley of the Snakes, so super lucky. That's why he said first wave potential. That's awesome. Valley of the Snakes, hopefully you're getting it by now, is another left turn thing, so he's entered coming in this way, and the exit's going to be facing that way. Snakes are quite dangerous because they've got a charge attack of their own, and that knocks you back and you can get stun locked really super easy. And those like dark energy balls flying towards him, insidious invisible killers. If you've got a lot of unravelers around you, which are the guys who are casting those attacks, that can take your health down quite a lot as well, especially while you're getting stun locked by these Claw Vipers. So he wants to get through as quick as possible, finds the left exit. Level 2 will... Okay, he's being gutsy. He's going to fight Fangskin, who is lightning enchanted and often can kill you really super fast. Unique Bardiche drops. I don't know if that's worth his time. I guess he's Bender's judgment that it is worth the time to give to the mercenary. I don't think that Bardiche is actually that great though. Morphs the staff in the Herodric Cube before talking to Drognan, just to make sure it doesn't bug out, and he's buying some cheap,
Nice.
very cheap scepters.
Okay, just 2 from here, that's fine.
So he doesn't have to invest a lot of money, ready to reroll, as I've been talking about earlier. That's why he was saving his chip gems. So 3 chip gems, that was an awful roll, unlucky. Didn't give it plus to any skills. That gave plus to Holy Freeze. That'll be worth a little bit of money, but that's sad. So he tried twice, didn't get any benefits. I remember when I used to first start watching the run, the Paladin run, Teo got like +3 to Blessed Hammers on his first try, the world record, and that was insanity. So there you go, he's trying the imbue on it.
That's horrible.
And yeah, got it in one there, Bender. That is horrible. So it had +3 to skill, so it would be worth a lot of money, but yeah, unfortunately, no plus to either concentration or Blessed Hammer, so unlucky on that front. Who knows how well he could have gotten this world record down if he had gotten that plus to skills. So here's the fun part of the run. He starts with Blessed Hammer and is swap casting Blessed Hammer with charge, and it just looks like you're skating across the screen. It looks amazing. And that nice little fist pump as well. Oh, I love it. This is the most fun part of the Paladin run and why I love watching it. I also like just running the Paladin myself, because Paladin back in the day when I used to play Diablo 2 was my favorite character. And like I say, there's a lot of variety to it. Like doing that respec, you know, you've got a melee start, you've got a magic casting end. It's really super interesting. Kills Fire Eye, so Fire Eye here next to the exit. Wow, he got through that super fast. Guaranteed super unique boss monster there. We'll have good minions. He comes here to check out the shrines. I wonder if he'll try and save that skill shrine for...
Okay, that can carry me through the Arcane, I guess.
For Duriel later, because unlike experience shrines, skill shrines do refresh and you can go back and use them again and again in the same game. Once you've used a gem shrine or a experience shrine, it doesn't refresh. It's done. You have to save and exit to try and find another skill or another experience or gem shrine. things like combat shrines and things like skill shrines, they do refresh periodically after you've used them. XP shrine, but he doesn't really care about XP at this point. Okay, I guess he does. That's a weird choice to me, because there's not really that many boss packs in the Arcane Sanctuary, and they're not really worth that much experience. And like I said, most of experience is going to come from Act 3, when he's running through really dense maps in the Flayer jungle. So interesting that he's chosen to take that rather than keep his skill shrine, which allows him to kill enemies faster and not be blocked for as long in the Arcane Sanctuary. And this is really dense. So the unfortunate thing, what you want to do in the Arcane Sanctuary is get to these... Wow! First way. First way. So there's no guaranteed way of knowing which way to exit the Arcane Sanctuary. Like, it's a 4-way layout, and it is equal probability of finding the exit tile on any one of these. So to find it first way... yeah.
Of that, I need to...
And so he's dropped a second Crush Flange. That is insane. Like, you would be lucky to see one. It's probably like a, what, 1 in X hundred chance for it to drop from a boss at any given moment. So he doesn't even bother saving that one, just sells it straight up, just for the money. But it did remind him to actually invest the strength so he can use his Crush Flange against the bosses later on. So that was a nice reminder for Bender there. Yeah, Arcane Sanctuary, first way exit. So there's no way. People have looked into it to know which way you have to go to find the exit to the Arcane Sanctuary. And to find it a first way, 1 in 4 chance. That's awesome. That really helps out the speedrun, especially when he got so stuffed on the maps earlier in Act 2 and in the Catacombs map. So great stuff. Tal Rash's Tomb is another one of these left turn maps, so you'll have an entrance like this and you want to be finding it there. What he did was, when he first walked in, he sort of checked and went against this wall, and he noticed that there's a bit of an area back here. So what it could be, and what he's going to check out, is if this is the tile here, because that's got that left direction to it. That experience shrine is actually doing him quite good. So continuing to invest in Blessed Hammer and its synergies there. So Blessed Aim, I think it is. You'd think it'd be investing in Vigor instead. But anyway, that's interesting. So he comes back and it looks like it's not actually tying through. So yeah, hasn't tied through there, so it's not the left turn. That's a dead end tile, you can tell. Even though he hasn't quite gotten to the end. You can tell the layouts of these tiles, basically. I've been playing Diablo too much. I almost hit the #1 key there just to start triggering my health. Yep, so he's got the gore bellies. They're kind of annoying because they have knockback and can stun you. That's a much better amulet for him. Bit of dexterity doesn't really help him, but the plus to mana will, give him an extra half a cast of the Blessed Hammer skill. Another rough map. So I was wasting a fair bit of time exploring this map, which is just astonishing to me that he comes through with a world record when he's getting this stuffed on maps. But not complaining about it either, so... Bender, he's the master. He's made the call, and I think it's a wise call, that is a dead-end item there, because one of the tiles that is always a dead end is shaped like that. I don't know that is a dead end there. He's kind of assumed that one behind him, that big box there, just finishes, and that's kind of how it was. It could be that it continues on, so he might have made that call too early. I'm going to trust him, because he's the pro. He gets the world record. But I would have kept checking, is all I'm saying. A lot of beetles here, so that's a lot of fast experience, which is nice. I didn't mention earlier, by looking at the quest earlier, he knows exactly which tomb he has to go to, because the tombs are always in a set order. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I always know that the sun is in that top left hand corner at the 12 o'clock position on the map. It's got beetles in here again, which is nice, like fast experience at least while he's exploring the map. And I guess he's looking for an awkward... Yeah, that is 100% a dead-end tile.
This could be something there. Maybe that went
This is
over.
a really stuffed map for him. Unlucky. Super unlucky. And once again, I just want to hit that number 1 key to trigger starting his potion healing. But instead, he does it wisely from his inventory. That's great clicking skills there, basically, to open it and to be reorganizing or using potions from your inventory while you're also running around the screen and attacking enemies. So he's moved his map slightly off-center just to make sure that he's understanding it correctly here, which is a little bit disorienting, I'll be honest. And then turn it off and on again so he can see it all. Very enemy dense in here. So he's going back to town, he needs to buy more health pots. Goes up to Drognan. Gets the health pots, he'll have to sell that amulet, surely it's a waste of money. Yep. He's saving a thawing potion for later when he's going to be fighting Duriel. Looking for more cheap. Oh no, I guess he's not looking for cheap ones. He might have been looking straight up for just plus to Blessed Hammer there that he could buy. 33k gold. I don't know that he'd be able to afford it anyway. I think plus to Blessed Hammer is normally like 60k gold.
Well,
But whatever. He can read it super fast. There you go. Exactly as I said. He can continue on.
Nasty map.
So there you
Either
go.
way.
It's been about 8 weeks since I last watched this, but I guess I must have just subconsciously remembered that fact about this. There you go. He's found the left turn after weaving around. Puts in the thing. Will he go back to town while that's going through all the animations to unlock Duriel's chamber? Yes, he'll go back to town. Maybe get his mercenary. At the very least, there you go. He's got Crush Flange ready to smite Duriel and get it. He doesn't need the sword anymore. And Crush Flange gives him Fire Res for Act 3, which is going to be useful. Grabs some Thawing Potions. Takes them because Thawing Potions give plus 50 to Cold Res. And it makes your Cold Res resistance cap even higher. Where's my thing? There. So now he's at 82, which is amazing. And he's using that smite skill. You can hear when it makes that sound. That is Crushing Blow actually hitting. So it is taking huge chunks of Duriel's health there. Just look at it like go whack down just from that shield. So he had to buy a shield to actually be able to smite. So now he sometimes will get stuck in that block animation. But once he's got down to that 3/4 of Duriel's health gone, he knows... Oh, there's some nice gold there at least. Didn't pick up the battle stuff. Okay. Not worth the couple of extra seconds
Smite
to
is pretty
clear
bad unless
his...
you have a good shield. Like the early game shields just don't give you enough damage.
So he had to have a shield to be able to use smite, to be able to get the
first
Crushing
weapon,
Blow
somewhat
proc,
useful.
and really kill Duriel super
Great.
fast. So Duriel, for anyone who first played Diablo 2, scariest boss when you first encounter him, but there's some
Smite
really
is
good
very
strategies to
elemental
take him out.
damage, and the strongest early game is with Holy Fire.
Yep. So that's why Ben is saying, early game damage, best to be using Holy Fire. Later game damage, best to be using Blessed Hammer. I'm really surprised that he didn't go back before Duriel there to check out if he had any skill shrines, because that could have saved him even more time. But I guess with the Crush Flange, he didn't really need to worry about it. There you go. It took him 3 tries to do the swap casting trick there, which talks a little bit to it. And here we go. So it's just zooming through. Nice little thing there. So because he was doing that swap cast animation, he was moving too fast for the game to actually trigger loading the next tile. So that's why it sort of hit that black area. Scary thing can happen where you get to that black area, you stop and the game loads the next area and you're suddenly surrounded by enemies. So he's just zooming through the spider forest here, looking for the exits. He'll grab that well to save himself a mana potion. Trying to find the Arachnid Layer. There we go. Puts the TP there just in case there is a waypoint, because the cave next to the waypoint is the spider cabin, not the Arachnid Layer. and it doesn't have the quest item that you need to get to. So that saved him, 20 or 10 seconds really of walking out of that little entryway into that area. And now he's just pushing ahead. So he's going, okay, I'm going to try and look through and get to the Flayer jungle to get to the next waypoint and then come back and get that quest item from the Arachnid Layer. There you go, there's the black trick again. Unfortunately here in Act 3, he's gotten a bit of a bad map layout where he's had to go through the Great Marsh. There are map layouts in Act 3, and I'll put a link in the show notes to a great description from Mr. Llama SC on this, where you can skip the Black Marsh entirely. So it goes straight from the Spider Forest through to the Flayer jungle, and you don't have to spend this couple of minutes that he's doing just zooming through the Great Marsh. It's just a complete waste of time. Like, it's not a good experience here. You just have to go through it to get to where he's going. So he really hasn't had that much of a lucky run in terms of map layouts at all. And there you go, he's gotten to the 5th block of the Great Marsh and is looking for the exit from the Great Marsh to get into the Flayer jungle. Because it could either be coming off to the right hand side, as you'll see in the Llama video I link, to get to the Flayer jungle, or it could be a straight through on the 6th block. He'll run up and just see if there's a path through, because this seems to have hit a dead end. And there isn't, so unlucky for him.
Jungle and kinda gambled on an early waypoint.
Yeah, he took that gamble to just push through to the Flayer jungle, and it has not paid off for him, unfortunately. Yeah, he's really getting hit by the cartographer percent here on this run. Still world records it though.
Despite waypoints, so ripping the TP isn't the worst. Still annoying.
So now he's going to have to go back and walk up to the Arachnid Layer from that waypoint that he got earlier, instead of just using the town portal trick. There you go. So it was a 6th block straight through, like I mentioned.
Bad read by me.
So those shaman guys there, the guys with the big headdresses, they use an Inferno attack, and that's why you want the fire res. I'm kind of surprised that he's still sticking with the Biggin's bonnet. Oh, he's got 57 fire res already. He might have put a Ral rune in that shield earlier and I didn't notice it. Me, personally, I would have stopped and picked up that War Scepter back there, because it could have been really good gold. But that's why Bender's the master, because he knows when not to waste his time picking up every little thing. So it's come up in here. Doesn't look like it's got the Gidbin shrine in it, so not really worth his time, and doesn't have a waypoint either, so that was unfortunate. Refilling shrine maybe? Yep. Me, I would have picked up that ring as well, so that's just another little time save that he's put in straight up. So not knowing when not to bother picking stuff up just makes such difference to how fast you can run this game, not getting distracted by every little thing, as well as efficiently farming those bosses, so you don't have to go back to town because you can just pick up potions while you're on the run. Really zooming through, doesn't even bother fighting that super unique boss pack there, which I also would have done. Keep zooming through, doesn't even bother with the Flayer jungle waypoint, which is not great, honestly. Like, he's going to have to do a rerun through that whole area all over again. That's, yeah, unfortunate. Shame he didn't find the waypoint. Or maybe he did and I missed it and I was too distracted by commentating what's going on here. Okay, so Sewers level 1, a similar thing to Catacombs level 2. You want to run it clockwise.
At least a decent sewer.
Clockwise. He's found, yeah, okay, that was good. Lucky payoff for him. He's found the 2nd level of the sewer really super fast. So as I was saying, you want to run clockwise on the sewer because there isn't a waypoint here, but there is a relationship between two tiles. There's a tile with a like shiny golden chest in it, and from the golden chest it's always a right turn to get into the 2nd level entrance tile. So if you're running clockwise, same thing as I explained in Catacombs Level 2, you're likely, if you find the Level 2 entrance first, sweet, that's great. If you find the shiny golden chest tile first, you know exactly which direction you should be prioritizing looking next. Now there can be tricky things like inside maps and that kind of stuff for that second tile, but definitely worth it. Flare Dungeon, levels 1 and 2, left turn exits again. Mildly annoying with Blessed Hammer because they are confined spaces, and Blessed Hammer doesn't really work in confined spaces too well. And this is where that fire resistance really comes in handy, because you can really get hurt by those shamans doing those inferno attacks. What he's doing there, key thing to pick out, is he just kills just enough enemies to be able to run through them and not kill every single one. Just enough to run through and keep moving rather than focusing on killing everyone and being safe that way. Level 3, I think there's like 5 different specific layouts for it, and Bender will know which way to run based on the layout to get to the golden chest that has the quest item that he needs to get to. There's always this Witch Doctor Enkidu shaman there who you have to fight. He got a little bit lost there, but generally what I think, you know, if you're a new runner and you want to do this, a thing to run to keep in mind with level 3 maps is it's always going to be the long way around, and you want to stick to the outside edge of the map, and that will end up leading you the way to that golden tile, golden chest. So just run the opposite way to what you think you should run and stick to the very edge of the map, and that'll get you there in a pretty efficient way. So it goes back to the spider forest, has to run back up to find the arachnid layer, getting stuck on these little tiny bridges, unfortunately. Really super enemy dense spider forest as well, which is just unfortunate. Like, pretty lame enemy groups as well, so not really worth the XP. And he's almost level 20, and he only wants to get to level 20, so like not even worth his time trying to farm unique boss monsters. Gets that eye, manages to dodge the super unique there, who can curse you and is extra strong and can just like two-shot you, so lucky there. And pushes along up to fight the council at Travinkle. Oh, just cruising with that skate speed from swap-casted charge. I love it. And here's another spot where that fire resistance comes in super handy. He has not put every item into his cube yet, so normally you'd be trying to do that on the fly, but he has to kill a few more enemies to be safe because he's cursed, and cursed means you take double physical damage, and some of these enemies can be extra strong, which is just nasty. Circlet can be good gold and can also potentially, I think at this stage, have plus to skills. Oh, that was what was in his cube. There was the big staff from earlier. Didn't put the eye in. Whoops. Morphs the cube, grabs the well to cure his poison and heal and etc. Yep, that circlet is pretty lame, unfortunately. His Biggin's bonnet has broken. So that was not the cleanest run at all. Yeah, that was a pretty rough Travinkle Council. Normally you'd just get in there, kill one guy, morph your cube, hit the thing, and it'd be like 10 seconds. That was a lot of stuffing around running away from him, unfortunately. Like, just bad luck with density and the way that he got hit. Level 1 is a left turn map. Level 2 is a straight across map, because if you turn left you actually immediately find the waypoint. So that's handy to note. And same principles apply on Nightmare and Hell difficulties. They just made the maps ridiculously large on Nightmare and Hell difficulties for Endurance of Hate, because people wanted to farm Mephisto because he's got great drops. And yeah, knowing those rules don't really help you out that much on Nightmare and Hell, but for normal, good to know. Zooms past, wants to get away from those council members because they can heal Mephisto here. So he's doing the same smite trick. He's got Crush Flange on, smiting Mephisto, just doing massive damage to him. Gets him down to about 1/3, 1/4 of his health, and switches across to using Blessed Hammer again. Super fast kill, so that's amazing. Breastplate will be worse than gold, so we want to pick that up.
Breastplate, where are you? There we go.
And yeah, I thought he might have wanted to pick up the poleaxe because that could have been really good for his mercenary. 6 to energy is pretty good. So that'll help with a bit of mana use on that ring. Plus a couple of resistances is also good. Yeah. Switching across to using greater health potions now instead. But still using just the large mana pots because his mana pool isn't that big. And if he uses the greater mana pots, it'll fill up his mana circle too fast. Oh, fast exit. Finally, he gets a payoff. So, the exit to that map, maybe he could have invested like the 3 seconds there to kill Iswal for the plus to skills. I don't know. It's not really that beneficial. You end up capping out on skills on the Paladin when you're only level 21 pretty early in synergies. So yeah, those maps there were just amazingly fast. Like, do not understate. You can spend minutes on Act 4 maps just running around trying to find the right exits. He found a super fast exit on that first tile as he came out of town, that first area. So that's like a 1 in 3 chance, I think. And then similarly, the first site he checked on that second area, Plains of Despair. Oh, and another fast one. Here we go. Act 4 is going to save him a lot. He found another fast exit there to get down to the River of Flame, and then that River of Flame was super fast as well. Like, that can be a super windy area, and you get faked out ending up at the Hellforge and that kind of thing. So very nice. Once again, running through this little area can be a bit of a pain because it does have quite big monster density right now. It wasn't too dense earlier in the River of Flame, so that was also lucky for him, because what can slow you down on the River of Flame is similar to the Maggot Layer, similar to the Arcane Sanctuary. You got these tiny tight paths that you have to navigate, and if you've got a lot of enemies in the way, you can just get blocked and you have to kill enemies and waste time before you can get around them and get to the next area. This is also quite a dense sanctuary, at least the entryway to it was. So he's been lucky to be able to navigate that, and that just speaks to his skill, I guess. Not lucky, just skill. So in the Arcane Sanctuary, you have to hit these 5 Zeals and kill the boss monster there. So this is Grand Vizier. Normally what I would do here for Grand Vizier, and he's managed it really well, is bring my mercenary, so the mercenary can take those like red lightning bolt attacks which suck away your mana really fast and can be a real drainer for the Paladin. So the mercenary is kind of your tank on that front while you cast the holy blessed hammers to kill the enemies. Bender just managed it super well. He casted them before he was getting hit by those mana sucking lightning bolts and managed to kill Grand Vizier super fast. Lord Deseus can be mildly annoying because he can cast Decrepify, but luckily Decrepify doesn't impact your cast animation, so your magic casting animations. It does impact your run speed and your physical attack animations. And there's also a funny bug there where he got casted. He had Decrepify cast on him, which was like the ice shards floating above his head, but it didn't impact him whatsoever. That's a result of a bug from, so there you can see, he's had to slow down because he got Decrepify cast on him. The one where he got it cast on him, but it didn't slow him down, was because when they removed, there used to be a curse that those guys could place on you called Iron Maiden, and it would just wreck any melee characters. So devs were nice. It's got self-repair, but it's ethereal. Poison, whatever. That was a pretty average belt, to be honest, but it's just a funny belt, so you'll put that on. So when they removed Iron Maiden, when the enemies try to cast Iron Maiden on you, it instead puts on... wow, that's an interesting trick. It instead puts on the animation for Decrepify, but it doesn't actually cast any curse on you whatsoever. That is super interesting. I've never seen that trick before. So that lightning hose attack from Diablo does a lot of damage. And so that's what I'd normally do. When you get started to get hit by it, you just run away from it. But what he did there was super tricky. Like, put a town portal, and when he starts to cast the lightning thing, just go to town while the animation's running. That's super cool. Yep, so he smoked Diablo down a lot, and he switched over to Blessed Hammer. That lightning hose is just such a drainer for a paladin, and honestly is like, give mad props to Bender for being able to manage so much lightning hoses on a hardcore run. Like, whoa, good effort. There you go, so he just casts Firestorm. He's got good fire res, so that is fine. That lightning hose also does a mix of lightning and physical damage, so that's why it's so painful. Even if you have good lightning resist, half of that damage, which is damage per second, or damage per frame even, is actually coming from physical damage, so yeah. Picks up an Unravel ahead, hoping it's got plus skills, so it's good gold, but it doesn't. Whatever. He's got 50k, that'll be enough to get him through. And he's loading his cube up with potions, ready for the Ancients fight later. So there you go. Killed Diablo. He's 2 minutes ahead of world record time.
Okay,
So you can see there just how much those great Act 4 maps helped him. Like, he's gone from 2 minutes behind to 2 minutes ahead. That's a huge swing in such a short act. Honestly, I'm surprised he was only 2 minutes behind coming out of Act 3. That is phenomenal that he was only 2 minutes behind after getting so hurt by all those bad maps. Yep, once again, there's tight paths here which can be painful, and is accidentally... That's one of the downsides of swap casting charge, is you can actually end up going too far, where if you didn't swap cast it, you just stop early. So we end up going down a slight dead end there, but the speed of it really pays off, and he's just zooming now. So the question in my mind right now is, in Act 5, is he going to stop and kill Shank the Overseer? Because if you kill Shank the Overseer, it gives you a 50% discount on the cost of potions in town. And if you're going and fighting Baal, etc., you're going to use a lot of potions. So he's got 50k gold, maybe he'll be right. He's choosing to skip Shank the Overseer there. Doesn't even bother picking up the waypoint. So that's off. So if he has to go back to town for potions, I wonder if he'll buy them off Mala at a ridiculously inflated price, or if he'll go to Act 4 and buy them cheaper in Act 4. I'm not sure. Because this is a normal run, he's not going ahead to Nightmare or Hell. He doesn't need to worry about saving the barbarians here to get the bonus runes you get from that. This is also a really hard part of the Paladin run. Oh, yeah, that's I can't believe he got that so fast. Trying to knock down those doors with your circling magic hammers is so hard. Like, you want to kind of stick to an outside edge path so you don't have to face as many doors. Because doors are like the hardest enemy right now until you get to the Ancients. So yep, still just zooming through. He'll be looking for some clues here on the Ariat Plateau as to what way doors are facing to tell whether he wants to go right. Why would you bother getting that waypoint? Anyway, never mind. Just in case he gets blocked and has to save and quit or something, I guess. So yep, he's just managed to get the positioning correct, and you could tell there what I talked to earlier, or at the very start of the run, about having a shield. You get stuck in blocking animations. So when he was trying to cast his when he was trying to cast his Blessed Hammer there on the door, an enemy hit him and stopped him from casting it because he had the shield on. If he didn't have the shield on, that wouldn't have been blocked. So continuing to run around. It's a left turn exit on the crystalline passage, so he's just checking that. So that's why he just walked up a little bit to really scope out that like little edge of a map he could see there. Unfortunately, he's ending up down a few different little blind alleys here. is following that bottom edge to try and find the left turn exit. Here we go, to the Glacial Trail. Same thing applies for the Glacial Trail.
Less certain about this one. Looks like we're good.
Now, there's some corridors here, but
Right.
fortunately these are a bit wider
Well,
than the
maybe.
other areas.
Yes.
So, that's helpful. At the frozen tundra, just zooming across. You'll probably want to stick to an outside edge, although his skills at knowing the right spot to stand to knock down these doors. Yeah. See, normally what I would do here on the frozen tundra is just get right to the very edge of the map and run along that, because there's not many doors that way. But it does mean you're going, you know, you might be sacrificing 3 seconds of time to run out to the edge rather than just running up the center. So, I don't know, whatever. 3 seconds, this is, makes the difference, I suppose. I don't know. Bender's just better than me. Lots of those glitching out, which is just fun to see. Ancient's Way, I'm pretty sure, is another left turn map if I bring up my reference guide here. Ancient's Way is a left turn map, yep. Picks up a well. Those Death Lords can be really super painful, so you want to be zooming around them as best you can. And that's the trouble with the dead ends. Because enemies are following you, they can follow you into the dead end and really just end up
Knockback was
like blocking
important,
your way.
Otherwise I would have been stuck.
So, okay, he's trusting that he's got enough gold here to just buy from Malor. Still just buying the large potions rather than the greater mana potions, so that saves him a little bit of gold. But you can see that ate through like half his gold right there, just doing that. So he's pre-casting all his hammers, so they're already at the hitting the ancients when they first are spawned. And he's basically just going to stand there. You can see right now he's getting caught in those blocking animations a fair bit, and it's a big risk with Whirlwind from Korlik there. Isn't that Talik? Yeah, Talik's the Whirlwind guy, Korlik's the leap guy. But he's just pumping those out. I'm surprised he didn't look for a skill shrine either, because that could have been really super helpful on this front. But he's just tanking it all, knocking them down with the Blessed Hammers. Runs away a little bit just to give himself a chance to hit. Hides behind a pillar there because Madork will glitch out and just stand with a straight line to him, ignoring the pillar and ignoring the fact that as Madork is trying to throw axes at Bender there, what it's going to do is just hit the pillar and not hit Bender at all, so it saves him hassle on the healing potions. Interesting that he didn't go the against the wall strategy there with Talik.
Ending was pretty bad, but it took mad damage sometimes.
Yep, because
Decided to
running
play
against
it
a wall
safe.
can often stop Talik from doing Whirlwind whatsoever and just focus on melee attacking you, which means you can hit him more and more often with your Blessed Hammers. Once again, runs into that like double crucifix, I guess I'd call it, map tile. Same thing applies as in the map 2, Act 2 maps, where that double crucifix tile is
What are you
basically
doing now?
guaranteed to be a dead end. Yep, you can read his maps pretty well, knows that's a dead end tile. Unfortunately, spending a lot of time looking around this Worldstone Keep already, hasn't found a fast exit. There you go, found the exit. Worldstone Keep 2, same thing as Catacomb 2 applies. You want to run it clockwise because it's a right turn from the waypoint, so if you find the waypoint first, you know to circle back and start going counterclockwise from the waypoint to find your exit tile. Or, alternatively, you'll just find your exit tile first without finding the waypoint, which is what you want. Was that a double crucifix tile? It might have been. I don't know that it was. He might have had to continue along that path a little bit longer. Anyway, whatever. Looking for the exit here. And he's got the waypoint, so it'll be a right
Some
turn.
backwards maps, I guess.
Getting some more potions. I really wish I was watching this on Twitch live stream right now and I could look at Diablo.run just so I could check out his gear. Because he must have put the Ral rune in there. See, there you go. So 3 lefts make a right turn for the exit there. Must have put a Ral rune into that bone shield. So it must be a mechanics bone shield or something. Mechanics bone shield or poison resistance or something for it to be purple. Zooming through the Act 3 maps here. Yeah, really surprised he didn't use a skill shrine earlier. And hasn't even checked his Act 1 maps to see whether there is a skill shrine there, because it can save a good amount of time having +2 skills on your Blessed Hammer at this point in the game. I mean, level 20, it's not as beneficial as when you were... That was actually super close to the entrance too. Unlucky. Not as good as when you're at level 18 to have +2 to all skills, but still, level 21, it's pretty good. That's really nice. It's quite empty. So, for Bale to start spawning the bad guys here, you have to kill all the enemies in the throne room, and this can be super dense. So he only had to kill like 4 guys. What he's doing here is trying a relatively new trick, which is wave skips. And you got to spend a certain amount of seconds outside of the throne room. Just go in for like half a second and then go out. And there's a... If you get the trick right,
just kill 2 and
then
you, 3 and 4 and 5.
Bale won't even skip that wave. So he won't spawn that wave. So he tried it there for wave 1. Unfortunately, it didn't work. He trusts that his damage is high enough for it to just be faster, guaranteed faster for him to do a wave 2 here. Doesn't seem to be really working. Might have been worth a shot, but whatever. He's going to try and run down fast enough. And you can see there, where's my thing? You can hear him counting. So
that's good.
That line there, basically. He's gone behind the line. He keeps moving. Where his mouse is, that is basically the line to say, this is where you are, and you are in the throne room. Get out of here for 10 seconds, like have him laughing. As soon as the laugh finishes, get out for 10 seconds. It's like 10 little bobs, so you can see the Paladin sitting there. So stay out for a certain amount of bobs and then run back in for half a second and then go down. So you could see that he managed to skip waves 3 and 4, but not 5. And you can tell it's a successful skip because it kind of glitches out and there's like a couple of frame skips as you run back into the room when it's successful. So just lures those guys out. He doesn't actually have to kill them, just get him out of the throne room, and that counts as, you know, the throne room being empty again. And that progresses on to the next stage. So it's getting a lot of thorning potions here because Bale has ice attacks, which will slow him down, and he wants to be smiting to get Bale's health down a lot. And there we go. He'll just smite him down. He's already down to half health. That's phenomenal. I'm guessing he'll switch over to Blessed Hammers when it's a few hits, a few crushing blows after the B. So maybe when he's got, 20% health left or something like that. Because Bale has a lot of health, so he'll be smiting a bit longer than he did on Duriel, Mephisto, and even Diablo, just because Bale's health pool is so high. There you go, he switches over now. Those melee hits just crit a lot. And those ice hits push you back, which is very annoying. And he's getting stuck with the charge animation there, which is annoying. But there we go, smashed it. World record. That was actually a really super clean Bale fight as well.
Like end of Act 2 and jungle.
So yeah, that was phenomenal. Unfortunately, the clip there didn't include Bender's end of run. So let's see. Let's see if I can find when he got that shield, because I never got to see it. So he gets Crush Flange, he goes to Farah, goes to Lysander. Because you can see here, that's where he gets all his fire res from. He gets it from Crush Flange, so he doesn't even need to worry about the Ral runes. That makes sense. Okay, and it was just an increased block chance shield with a bit of poison res. That makes sense. So that was the run. Phenomenal run. I hope you got out of it as much as I did. There was just a lot of interesting stuff. You can tell by the fact I didn't shut up that whole time, and I still missed out on stuff. So yeah, super interesting Paladin run. Great stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll give a quick run over of his gear as I wrap it up here. So he had Biggin's Bonnet, which gave him plus life, plus mana, which is helpful. He had an okay amulet with a bit of resistance, I think, had on it, and some energy. He had a bit of energy on his rings, as well as a little bit of resistances, and he had a 10 FCR ring, which combined with stealth on his armor from Tal Eth. He got to that next breakpoint on the faster cast rate, which was great. And he had a little bit of lightning res on his gloves, so not really that helpful. Not, best in gear game for sure, but definitely helpful gear. And that Crush Flange massively helped out as well, being able to smite and take down the boss health. You can see there he saved another 50 seconds or so in Act 5, even with all that running around in those cavern maps, which was great. He only skipped, 2 waves? So that would have helped a little bit compared to the world record. But, more could have been done if he actually managed to skip all 5 waves. That would have been amazing. And yeah, imagine what he could have done if he didn't get stuffed on those maps from Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 3 actually. Amazing stuff. Bender, you are fantastic. I hope everyone enjoyed the commentary. I might do another one if I get positive feedback on this. Do check us out at affix.live for our podcast, where we talk about philosophy and economics and all that fun stuff. Bye!